Trump is pushing us into a recession. Now, some people might say it's calculated. Other people might say that his tariffs didn't really work out and now he's stuck with his dick in his hands. Who really knows? The reality, though, is that if you look closely, you will see a way bigger opportunity. You see, the only people that are making money during a recession are the people that understand how to take advantage of the market. This is an extended version of how I got started in entrepreneurship, to be quite honest with you. I would buy designer brands for very cheap and I'd flip them for much higher. But in this case, what I would do now, given the millions of dollars that I've made over the last few years and the higher level thinking I have on the market, is take advantage of this recession where rich people are tight on cash and they need liquidity. And so they'll be selling things like their watches, their Hermes bags for their girl. They'll be selling their cars. They'll be selling all sorts of stuff for amounts that would leave $1,000, $2,000, $5,000, $10,000 on the table. But they don't really care. They just want the cash now. And that's exactly what we are going to exploit. What we're doing today is luxury item flipping. Now, the reason that this works is because these rich people are trying to buy while the market is dipping. That's what any smart person is going to do. They're going to buy low, sell high. Well, in this case, they're happy to sell their watches and all of the other luxury goods that are still pretty expensive for a discount in order to be able to buy in the market at a discount and sell at a premium. How rich people sell assets and why it's a gold mine. You ever see someone flexing a Rolex and the next week it's gone and they have something else? Or maybe they have a Ferrari one week and the next week they're back to driving a Tesla. Well, the reality is that rich people are constantly flipping their assets. That's why they're buying things that appreciate, is so that they can take advantage of the fact that it is going to appreciate. This is exactly where you're going to come in. You're not going to sell a single watch, a single Lambo, a single yacht, and any of that stuff. You just need to, as usual, position yourself between the cash flow from the buyer and the seller. And if you do this right, you can easily be making $10,000, $20,000, $100,000 per flip. What I would do in this situation in order to identify the sellers very quickly is set up ads going out directly to sellers. So you'll say something along the lines of, I can get you the best price for your watches, luxury handbags, cars, your high-end assets. You're going to run those ads out to the general public and specifically target high-income individuals on Facebook ads. Now, you'll have a leads list, not only of really rich people that are good connections to have because they own all these assets, but people that are looking to sell these things. Make it very clear that you're only looking to take on $100,000 or more in assets so that you're working in bulk. Now, once you build these relationships, these guys are going to have tons of watches. I hopped on a call the other day on a $150,000 offer that I have, and I spoke with the guy. He's got 3 Rolexes, he's got 2 APs, he's got 3 Pateks, and he's got 2 RMs. These guys have all sorts of watches. They buy a lot. So him alone probably has $1 million just in watches, not to mention the 2 Porsches that he has in his garage that are both vintage Porsches that are heavily appreciating day over day. Now, you need to find people like that, and then you'll get them on a call and you'll speak to them very openly about what you are doing. Look, I will connect you with a buyer in order to sell these assets. Straightforward enough. I guess the next step would be finding the buyers. Now, to find the buyers, you have to get a little bit more pinpointed. This is not a blast approach. So what you're going to do is hire a team of Indians off of Upwork in order to conduct these tasks, because your time is just too valuable. And for $500 a week, you'd have 3 guys working down to the bone finding you the buyers. So let me tell you where you can send your Indians in order to help them find buyers. Number 1 would be luxury watch dealers. These guys are all over Facebook, all over Instagram, all over the internet generally. Very easy to find these guys. I would start in New York and work your way out from there, because that is where the highest density of, like watch jewelers, luxury good dealers are. You want to basically go to them and say, I have this, and this. And before you do this, you're going to talk to the seller regarding pricing so that you have a rough estimate on how much they are willing to sell their luxury items for, what their stock is, i.e. your stock, and then get an idea for what kind of margin you have to play with. This will come in handy when dealing with the buyers so that you know what you can sell your stuff at bulk for. Now, the ideal situation is that just like a company where you want to roll up as many things as possible because you're going going to get a better valuation. The same will be true by rolling up a number of these different sellers in order to go out to buyers. Now, that is just luxury watches. You can find these dealers very easily and send out offshore labor in order to do so. But the other ways that you can do this, for cars, you could go out to car brokers or private collectors. These guys are buying these things all the time, and they're going to hold on to them for a very, very, very long time. I've been to some of these private car showrooms, and these guys do sit on stock. It's the same as the watch dealers. They just want it because they know that they, at some point, have the liquidity to sell it, far beyond the liquidity you or I would experience, but they don't always have the access to the seller, which is what you're bringing to the table. The last place that I would look for this is things like exclusive buyer networks. Have one of your offshore laborers going into these various Facebook groups, online forums, in order to find people that are buying these high-end assets on a consistent basis. Once again, all you are doing is just connecting the buyers and the sellers in order to make 10, 20, or at scale, hundreds of thousands of dollars, which is why you want to group these guys. If one person is selling, let's say, $100,000 worth of assets, then you're probably only going to make about a 10% margin. But the minute that you roll up 10 of those guys, well, now you're dealing with $1 million. So your 10% margin is much, much larger. Now, let's get into the actual numbers just so that you guys know I'm not bullshitting you. For example would be like a Rolex Daytona. You could make $5,000 to $20,000 on that watch. And at the peak of the market, the watch is worth $45,000, $50,000, $60,000. And right now you can buy a Daytona for 29 grand, 30 grand. An exotic car, the right flip of a McLaren or a Maserati or a Ferrari or a Lambo can make you an easy 20, 50 grand just from that one flip. A designer bag could literally have you making $15,000 to $50,000 on a Birkin overnight. Like I said, the scale play here is find multiple individuals that have over $100,000 in assets and make anywhere between 10 and 20% margin by flipping all of their stuff in one go. Remember, the real value you are providing these guys is not just connecting them to buyers that are interested. They could probably find that on their own. What they would have a difficult time doing is moving all of the inventory, all of the assets in one go, which is what you're there to do. So you want them to round up as much of that stuff as possible. And you will come across people like the guy that I spoke with the other day who has $1 million in watches. Now, he might not want to sell all of them, but you bring him the right deal for 300 grand, $500,000 worth of those watches, and he will take it if he thinks it's a good opportunity to invest in the market with liquidity instead of holding it in watches. Now, the reason that this works is because the luxury goods market is more or less recession proof. Now, these guys will be interested in selling during the recessions for the reasons that I outlined earlier in this video. But that being said, the market of buyers is not buying at a steep discount because their incentives aren't aligned with steep discounts. And they might not understand the same arbitrage that's happening right in this very moment for the reasons that it's happening. So if you're smart, you'll start right now. I put together an exact luxury flipping playbook in order for you guys to go through. So if you guys want that playbook, make sure that you like and comment on this video, and only subscribers will receive it. As always, I'm Alex Astry, and this is how you can make your first million.